It's absolutely so juicy. I absolutely love all of what I'm seeing here. The tea is fun. Oh, hello and welcome to another episode of Songs and Sorcery. It is I, your host, Leonard, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Grimmy, who is apparently holding something up for me. You can't see Grimmy right now. Grimmy is absolutely livid with what he is seeing, but he is living for it, as am I. What are we talking about? I am talking about today's episode, a review. Welcome to Sipping and Sorcery. Oh yes, the tea is marvelous. And honestly, it is something that I think is worthy of recording here. What are we going to do today? We're going to be analyzing, well, not really analyzing, we're going to be sort of giving our 2 cents into the whole, issue with, this whole thing. And honestly, as you all can tell and have undoubtedly noticed, I am, of course, in the proper garb for something like this. I thought, what better way to absorb the tea with proper tea etiquette? A beautiful ensemble here. I spent an uncomfortable amount of money on, and it's already tarnishing, so I'm very upset about it. But honestly, I'm happy to be here, happy to serve to all of you as to the local, not really even local news, but to the general feelings and ambience of those within our witchy and occult community. As you can tell, I am, maskless, but honestly, these glasses will do because I feel as though it is proper and important for us to get an honest reaction as possible. And honestly, the mask wouldn't really fit with the hair so much, and it is quite honestly, unworthy of dignified. So, the energy of Leonard, the mask, has been transferred to the garb, to everything that I'm wearing, so I think this will do nicely. I hope all of you are having a splendid day, a splendid, sunrise. It is absolutely gorgeous outside. The lighting is fantastic. I get a beautiful view of the tree into the front yard, and honestly, I am absolutely elated by it. It's been quite some time, not too long, since perhaps the last recording, since perhaps the last upload, but I'm already sort of noticing a sort of gain in momentum, a gain in energy. There's a lot of things that's been going around. Honestly, the Christo-fascist regime has been doing so many things, has been, leaping over bounds and bounds of, things like media, things like, properties, things like general discourse within our society. And I felt as though, honestly, despite what some other occult thinkers might, believe or say, and a few people that I believe I listen to, I feel as though the feeling of this next YouTuber is of the utmost importance. So, I believe they go by the name of Justin, and it is something that I saw very recently because they have uploaded it. Forgive me if I misgender anyone. It is never my intention. As you all know, I'm quite accepting and quite progressive, but yet I don't know every personal situation. Every person's personal situation. And every person on there. So I will be doing this thing to the best of my ability with the utmost respect, because honestly, what they were saying, I fucking loved it. So we're going to be going into this right now. So let us go into the whole thing. We are now recording, and we are a go.
Hello witches, and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be a different kind of video. I don't know what the title to this video is, and I've sat here and tried to make this video, and I keep going down rabbit holes, and I need to just try to stay as focused as I can. If this is your first video that you have ever seen from me, I am glad and sorry, depending on how you feel about what I'm going to say in this video. I don't know what I titled it. I'm assuming it's somewhat inflammatory, and it's not clickbait, okay? I have had some experiences recently that I want to speak candidly about.
Yes.
Because
please,
these things have made me realize that I cannot be silent, and the things that have happened are so connected to what is going on in the world that me sitting here behind my camera and making content and not saying exactly how I feel about certain things is just not sitting well with me. So I want to give you all a trigger warning that I may say things that are inflammatory and triggering. Yes. And right now at this stage of this video, I don't think I am going to apologize for them. If you think you can handle that kind of video based on whatever this title of this video is and what I'm saying now, then stick around and I hope it resonates with you. If you don't think it's for you, then please click out. There's enough stuff going on in the world. You probably don't need to see it if you're going to be that bothered by it. But I am sick and tired of being nice. We are at a stage in our country and in our world where playing nice in that way with these fucking people is just not gonna work anymore, and I'm done. The start of this event, actually, which started a couple months ago, and also let me preface this, this has to do with stuff that has nothing to do with YouTube, okay? This is just the world that is happening, and I have tried to be politically nonpartisan, or whatever the fucking term is, okay? I've tried to just stay out of it and not post anything on Facebook, not engage in that way. I've tried to tiptoe around it on Instagram, and I'm doing myself a disservice. And what has been happening has just made me realize that if I want to stand for something, if I want to be who I truly am and stand up for what I believe, then I have to have the courage and the ability to do that. And so that is also a part of what this is. These events have been rooted in family. Okay, let me start there. Also, let me put that out there. Let me put it out there that this has nothing to do with anybody on YouTube. This is family shit that has...
Oh my God. So I'm going through the same sort of thing right now. Not exactly the same, honestly, but it is absolutely imperative that someone of our ilk, of our own kind, actually speaks this out, because I feel as though it is incredibly true. We have been incredibly nice. We have been incredibly charitable because we are a group of people that understand things like emotions and feelings and the ramifications of our own actions and the responsibilities that are tied in with those sort of actions, and with the people that we come into contact with, we tend to hold our tongue more than necessary. And unfortunately, because many of us come from these sort of damaged backgrounds, things that have been caused by trauma within certain communities or in certain societies, we have sort of learned or have been unknowingly groomed to be a bit more silent, or I guess be a bit more apprehensive, when I feel as though now especially it's a time for us to sort of be a lot more forthcoming and to be a lot more forceful with our language besides our actions. They're going to go into it a bit more, but I will give that preface. I feel as though now, especially now, the time for this sort of light, happy diplomacy thing has sort of been over. We, indulged them for a long time, and when the elections came about last year, we tried to the utmost of our ability to stick to the facts, to stick to common courtesy, things like laws, and to be polite. And all the other side did was criticize us, make fun of us, brutally, try to castrate us socially with all these allegations that they had nearly no evidence for. And they sort of run with it. And because the mundane do not know us personally as a community, and because they don't do the proper research, they sort of soak it all up. And the people will use any sort of mistake or any sort of, strange outburst from any person that seems to have any sort of ties affiliation to our group of community as ammunition to galvanize the masses against us. They have done this, and it has been especially done by behest of leaders of the church that are now in charge of certain parts of our government. So I will let this lovely individual continue, because the tea is hot, honestly.
Just pushed me over the fucking edge, and I just cannot make another video, okay, talking about my experience with Hecate or witchcraft or the occult or if fucking anything until I get this out there. I can't do it, okay? I cannot sit in my privilege. I cannot sit here and pretend like shit is not happening and that I'm not feeling things and that I don't have opinions about things. So the real snowball effect happened literally 2 days ago, but the drama of this started 6 or 7 months ago. Now, I don't know if this family member or these this segment of the family watches my YouTube, but they do know about it. So there's a possibility they will see this. And no matter how angry and hurt and disgusted I am by them, I am not here to cause them any harm, regardless of what they may believe. But I do need to talk about this. And that's the fact that I am so sick of this Christian bullshit.
Oh!
I'm just going to say right now, I don't want no comments about treating the Christians better. I'm sorry, I don't. If you are a Christian and this doesn't fit you, then no, I'm not talking about you. But the Christian nationalism that's happening in the US right now is fucking sick. Okay? It's fascism. It's bigoted, xenophobic.
Yes.
These people are sick in the fucking head.
100%. It
They
absolutely
are.
is.
And I mean that with the utmost disrespect.
Yes.
This event, what
Tired of
happened,
this shit.
started, like I said, about 7 months ago, and it started with a family member telling my child that...
Also, I want to make a quick disclaimer to anyone who perhaps are in this sort of affiliations when it comes to the, dominant religious, society within our thing. But you have a soft spot for us. Honestly, like this person said, it's not really geared towards you, but more so your organization. We can never truly judge an entire, an individual by the entire organization that they're a part of. It's very generalistic. It's a huge fallacy and all that shit. The problem that I have is when you have these groups of people that are doing what this person is absolutely saying, and the individuals that we are fine with that are part of these sort of organizations aren't really doing enough or anything to sort of help fight on our behalf. It is sort of, and then honestly, they might get, forewarning, like for those of you who perhaps don't know this, I don't really have a huge love for that said religion. I was a part of it for over 20 years, and I have grown very tired and weary of it because it has acquired a tremendous amount of power throughout the years, despite claiming that they are the oppressed ones in our society. Clearly, they do not know or understand anything of that, and they are not. It's obvious. They're not the ones being attacked right now, having their rights taken. So, it stands to reason that they are not the oppressed party here. They're trying to sort of call back to what a few people feel, what their book tells them that they are, going through this thing. But the statements that this book makes is something from thousands of years ago. They have countries under their control. They have leaders in government that absolutely abide by their word and trying to enforce it by force, or at least subtly within the educational system, especially here in the US. So this is something that I believe those of us that are of the, Christian witch aspect, something to sort of consider when you're sort of, talking with people like us within the groups. And even with myself, I have no real, hatred toward any of you, really. I don't know you. And one of my friends, trusted friends, is in fact a leader within the Christian circles. So, like I said, I don't have any hatred for this said person. I don't care for the egregore they call their God in the slightest. However, there is an off chance that perhaps this specific deity that they try to commune with isn't at all what is described or what is enforced through this book. However, because the deity has not reinforced its values or its control that it supposedly has over these groups of people and fucking, reeled them in from their bullshit, it is up to every other sort of faith, like ours, for example, sort of hold them accountable. We have to use the allyship we have with our gods, with our spirits, with our ancestors, to sort of gain footholds and strongholds within the celestial, within the astral realms, so in order to enact the balance that was disrupted for over 1,000 years because of these regimes that sort of were going around fucking pillaging, raping, and absolutely gutting the cultures of native nations, like mine, for example.
I was a sinful abomination, and essentially that unless I repent, I'm gonna burn in hell. And that she prays for me consistently that I will turn from my ways. Keep in mind, my daughter has grown up around every kind of person from all different cultures. She has grown up with people from one letter to the next in the LGBTQI plus community, because that's how we wanted her raised, to value people. She has been raised understanding Wicca and occult ideas and around witchcraft. She has gone to church with my parents and other people because I want, and her mother wants her, to have a well-rounded view of the world and make decisions about what she believes based on what she believes, not what she's being forced to believe. So this family member decided to take it upon herself to try to indoctrinate my child. And it utterly disgusted me. For those of you who may be new here, I grew up in a Christian cult for most of my life, and it's taken me twice as long to unweave the webs that have been embedded in me, okay, in my emotional ineptness and my maturity and my view on the world. And I vowed that I would not put my child in a position where they would ever feel like shame equaled love. And that is what the fuck this shit is. And I am not going to stand for it. So, that happened 6 or 7 months ago. Rachel was recently hospitalized. And up until this point, she has been reaching out to that side of the family. That's her side of the family. And they've been ignoring her, completely ignoring her, because of the fallout between me and this other person. Completely ignored her until they found out she was in the hospital, and then all of a sudden, you know, Christian love likes to show up. It's funny how that works. And 2 days ago, the icing, the cherry on top of the bullshit sundae presented itself. They wanted to speak to her and come to a resolution. What they really wanted was to tell her why they wanted nothing, essentially why they don't want to have a relationship with her or I, or even our daughter, who is 12. Keep in mind, these individuals have been in my daughter's life since she was born. Infancy. They would watch her every day that her mother and I would be working. These are people that have been so ingrained in her life since the day she was born. I really thought, leading up until 2 days ago when they reached out to Rachel to resolve things, I thought it all had to do with my sexuality. And what I realized is that it's even deeper than that. It's not even so much just my sexuality that's the problem, or the way I present.
Listen to this.
It's the fact that I'm a witch. They told Rachel that they need to protect their home from the demons, from the essential evil that I am. And that would include her and a 12-year-old child. I'm talking about it because I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this fucking bullshit. I am so sick of what is going on in this world and what is going on in the country. I am angry and pissed off. That's what I am. I'm fucking irritated as fuck about the whole situation. I am hurt and angry that two people who would say they love a 12-year-old child would choose to end a relationship because of a parent's spiritual identity.
And that is the honest fucking truth that any of us that have been within either circles has seen. Some of us, you know, within the community have been scarred by the Christian ideology for so many years. And it's not enough to say the sort of issues or problems that we've had, but the actions and the things that we've seen from so many people, even outside of our circles. And it's been something that has been honestly really hard for me to properly deal with in a way that isn't affecting my emotional state or perhaps my mental state in certain aspects of life. Because when you grow up in Christian circles, and I absolutely did for over 20 years, that ideology becomes part of your entire life. It sort of has control over the people you date. It can have it over the things you eat, over the things you wear, and how you think about given situations, even up to what sort of profession you want to take. And there are certain churches, for example, and organizations within this religious community that absolutely are the ones that are trying to discourage people from seeking greater knowledge because they deem it as something not true. When I say greater knowledge, I mean when you go into a college or some of them, many of them, actually discourage people of going to a university because they have this ongoing theme that most people that go to a university that's not religious end up leaving the church. And they say it's because the devil has turned them, it showed them things, it changed their minds, it twisted them, it altered them. But the thing is that they don't think about the possibility that what they believe in is absolute horseshit. And when a person seeks more knowledge and gains more knowledge and understanding, they can see the holes within the reality that the Christian community has sort of created. And it has been pervasive. It has been something that has absolutely been used and weaponized by governments to control the masses. And it is something that you can see is evident in anyone that has been there and has tried to seek a way out. It is no coincidence that the majority of people that are within the witchcraft community came from Christian backgrounds and are damaged and are scarred by it. I was completely devoted to this faith. I said of people like myself that these people that didn't really believe in God hard enough or strong enough. These are people that, weren't focused on the goal, which is Jesus, which is God and everything else. And I wasn't even practicing or even reading into anything with magic at the time. But it has always bothered me because even since I was a child, the sexuality thing, which this person mentioned, was absolutely something that I struggled with. And I would hear it mentioned constantly that gays and people that are homosexuals are demons, that these are people that are influenced by evil and malignant spirits, that these are people that can corrupt other people and your children into following those paths. They are walking a path of ruin and destruction. And when I was growing up, these progressive churches that are apparent now weren't so much when I was growing up. And even then, they don't sort of account for the fact that within Scripture, it absolutely denounces, homosexuality and things like witchcraft especially. Even though there is an understanding from recent scholars, occult and non-occult, that these sort of comments or these sort of, lines within Scripture were things that were added later on through other translations and through the church interfering with original religious documentation that may not have any mention of the words homosexuality. Just things like immoral, but it wouldn't certainly categorize it. But these are absolutely things that I think those of us need to sort of come to terms with, because they're going to mention something a little bit later that I think I will sort of draw back to. But honestly, we need to discuss this and we need to have to do something about this, because honestly, for those of us that are not being a parent, the Christian thing is absolutely a dangerous ideology. It no longer serves the purpose they claim it does, due to its not only bloody history, but through its pervasive attempts at circumventing and upheaving the communities that have been established in recent times to not only shelter us, but to give us the same rights as other peoples within this nation that aren't of our community or of the faith. So this is something that I think has to sort of be internalized by many of us within those circles and within ours.
It also triggers these feelings in me that I'm innately evil, I'm innately wrong. I've grown up in this environment where nothing I ever did was right, I was never good enough, I was always last priority in my family, and it's like bringing up all of these old feelings, and I'm realizing that I'm just sitting here behind my camera having my thoughts about the things and goings on of the world, and I'm just saying nothing because I have the privilege to do that.
And you don't want to have any trouble.
And I'm not going to do it anymore.
Problems.
Fuck that. Fuck the Bible. Okay? Fuck
Yes!
these Christians. Fuck this Christian nationalism.
Look, I'm sorry, but honestly, the Bible, I get triggered whenever and I know some people, they says that the Bible is like this sort of magical totem, this grimoire or anything else. Most of the shit in there is bullshit, especially the prophecies. Most of them, if any of them happened at all, they didn't. They will lie and say they did and twist some findings or whatever. It didn't happen. Okay? The good things of the Bible you can take with you, how to treat others, loving, and anything else. But let's not mistake the origins of this. The deity within this scripture, within this book, was a storm deity. It was also known as a god of war within that region. Is it any coincidence, and I've mentioned this in a previous interview with some other witches that may be featured on here as a link to, that throughout their entire history, it's been constant conflict and blood. And they said that because they are the victims. But they skip over the fact that they're kings of that region, and it sort of came from Israel at the time with Judea. Those kings were commanded by that same God to invade neighboring lands because they categorized them as being heathenistic and evil and sinful. Their gods are not gods. There's only our God. There's only one God, and any other God is a demon, is an evil spirit that is corrupting the people there. Because those people don't vibe with how we do things, with how we do our faith, with how we fuck kids. We are going to kill them. We're going to demonize them, and we are going to establish ourselves within their land as the dominant faith, and we will spread it by force. It has been done. Even today's standards, the overwhelming people that tend to, try to attack communities, minority communities, have all had a history of being a part of this disgusting ideology. And I'm sorry if I'm putting it into words. I'm triggered, honestly, but it absolutely is. People skip over the fact how it says the violent take it by force, how only those are the ones that inherit the kingdom of heaven. You have to be brave. You have to be able to sacrifice. It is a religion that constantly reinforces the victim state. You have to be ashamed of yourself. You are nothing. You are shit. Only God matters. You mean nothing. And if you give your worthless life to God, you will then inherit something. It is absolutely putting you in the position of the victim to always blame yourself for the problems of the world that this God created. So, according to that ideology anyway, this is something that I think those of us that are within the community have to sort of be a bit more upfront about. The only ones that are a bit more are the Satanists or for the demonolators, and that stuff is understandable. Those of us that are in more sort of neutral circles of other faiths and pagan beliefs tend to sort of branch away from that sort of situation because we don't want to sort of put ourselves into sort of conflicts because it can get rather uncomfortable. But we are no longer in a comfortable thing. The fascists within this religion that hate us are now in charge of the country, and they are making waves, laws, and motions to not only take away our rights, but to ensure that we do not exist. So, for those of us that are, Christian witches, if a line is drawn in the sand, which side are you going to be on? Because they will absolutely address it. If this thing escalates, and I hope it doesn't, to a very dangerous point in degree, and there hasn't really been any sort of government or international intervention yet, there's going to be a huge problem. I can sort of see this thing happening. Are you going to sort of stem away from that, or are you going to stay within that belief system because it is a part of a family you possess currently, because you sort of redid the whole magic occult thing into this sort of Christian light thing? Well, it's not so bad. We're using the elements, and honestly, you can use whatever you wish. Who's to say that these spirits that are mentioned in Bible, things like angels or God, is bad? But because of the things that are happening in our country, some of the worst things that are happening are because of the same people that believe in that sort of thing. So if the influence of that God isn't responsible for that malice, yet they are proclaiming and doing these things in the name of God, I don't even know what to say to that, honestly.
And again, don't come in my comments talking about treat others. I don't want to hear it. I really don't. Because the truth of the matter is, we have played that game. Okay? Yes. People on the left, liberals, woke, snowflakes, whatever you want to call me, and people like me, we have played this game before of when they go low, we go high.
Yes.
It doesn't work.
Playing the high ground.
It doesn't work. We are at a boiling point.
Yes.
And it took...
We did all of that.
This event, these events,
Didn't get us
for
anywhere.
me to understand that I have just been like ignoring.
They fucking lied about us, about our representatives. They made up stories. We found that out, but people believe their bullshit anyway. Even now, we have people like MTG. I hate that cunt that is in the Congress. She's putting up fake pictures, doctored photos. We have someone else, that a representative, that showed the real shit. And it's like their stats, the whole thing about the Haitian migrants in Ohio was complete bullshit. We called them out on it, but people still don't believe it. We even have the facts, we even have the police record that verifies this. And people still believe this fuck. Everything that he denied about 2025 is happening, that he said he has nothing to do with or doesn't know anything about, and he is 100% backing and supporting and benefiting from. The people that wrote the fucking document of 2025 are absolutely the leaders in our government right now. Okay? The Heritage Foundation, or whatever the fuck is called, are the ones that sort of promoted this sort of thing. And now they're the ones in charge of our government. And then you wonder why there's so much issues and problems with rights, not only with the queer community, but with people that are, immigrants and things like that. Even legal immigrants are starting to not be deported, and they're coming up with tons of excuses saying this is not us, they're not really legal immigrants. I'm telling you, it stems from this ideology merged with this other ideology of supremacy, whether it is white, male, or whatever it is. We are going backwards because we were nice.
What has been going on? That these people who Rachel's own sibling, cannot be in her life. They don't want to associate because of my spirituality, because of my practice, because they need to protect themselves and their home. Their foundation has to be protected.
Oh my
from
god,
this
the
evil.
tea is boiling.
And they're bigots. That's what they are. They're xenophobic, homophobic pieces of shit. And this country and this world is full of them, and they are using this Bible to justify eliminating trans rights, gay rights,
100%.
women's rights.
100%.
They are using this neo-Christian nationalist bullshit as an example of, or as a reason why it's okay to fucking blow up kids in Gaza. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. I'm done, and I am pulling off the Band-Aid. I do not like Trump. I think he's a fucking racist.
Yes.
He's a racist. He's a nasty, disgusting piece of shit. That's what I think about him.
Absolutely.
And if that offends you, then maybe you are also a nasty, disgusting piece of shit. If you...
And honestly, for the people that are trying to say or defend it, saying, well, he's not racist, he has black people. I'm like, who do you think the slaves were? White masters had slaves in their own house. Like, just because someone hates another kind doesn't mean they want nothing to do with them at all. They will exploit them. They will use them because they hate them. Because they don't like them. They see them as being subspecies, as being inferior. 100%. Like, what sort of... Are you serious? Like, if I'm a racist, I hate someone. It doesn't mean I would never associate, but I would do things to ensure that I get ahead and they don't. That I prosper and they don't. And the fact that people, especially within the religious community, ignore the history that we had several decades ago of minority-led and supported communities not being supported by the government, being upheaved, being upended, being persecuted, and thinking that this sort of thing doesn't exist. The people that did those sort of things to minority groups are still alive. They haven't been persecuted. They haven't been killed off or anything like that. Their beliefs are things that they pass to their children. And those children will pass it on to their children's children. All they did was sort of make, I guess, racism somewhat illegal, and to racially profile people, they made it an illegal thing in the private sector when it comes to things like businesses or within things like the market. But now they're using the excuse of free speech to help bring that thing back, saying, well, you can say what you want and it's fine. And to a point, I agree. But then we have to be able to use the same ammunition and be protected by it. But what we see happening is that whenever we air our grievances against these group of people, the MAGA, for example, or against Trump, we are absolutely being silenced or we are being imprisoned. There have been journalists that have had their jobs taken away, government officials that have been fired because they voiced a dissenting opinion about Trump, that they don't like him, that they think he's corrupt. Even people in our military, veterans, have also professed to not liking him and to be having accounts of him. 34 count charges, things like fraud, things sexual harassment, things like rape, whatever. The fucker was friends with Epstein for decades before they took him down. He said nothing about what he was doing, by the way. So, he's not a good person. He's in charge now. The entire economy is a flop. It's in shit. It's falling to pieces. And he's still blaming Biden for his decisions. Biden didn't do tariffs. And this so-called bad economy that was happening, that was rising under Biden, they never take into the account that Biden was dealing with 4 years of a pandemic. Trump only dealt with, 6? We did lockdown started in March of 2020 when COVID started. Okay, the end of his term was going to be in November. Okay? And even after that, before Biden was sworn in, Trump had to, I think, January to whenever for Biden to come into office. We had the BLM riots during Trump's presidency. We had violence spreading everywhere. We had inequality and shit, racism, and all that other shit was on the rise as it is now, and it is fact. We literally have people in Nazi uniform, regalia, and with beliefs, marching down the streets, holding up flags, and talking about white supremacy. We legit had this fucker idiot, Elon Musk, do a Nazi salute disguised as a Roman salute there for you. And then he goes to wherever the fuck he went to, talking about how, we need to preserve, I'm like sort of paraphrasing what he said, white people, the culture, it's trying to defend the culture, things like that. It's honestly a fucking no-brainer. If you have eyes in the back of your head, in front of your head, or whatever the fuck you have them in your eyes, you can see this. But it's so tiring, the stupidity I see in this. Food still isn't affordable. Even Trump said he would make it affordable within a time frame. He did not. Doge, the people said they were going to recover us $2 trillion. Not even. They spent, I think, over hundreds of millions of dollars to sort out the problems, and they haven't really. They've only really made back, like a couple billion? Nowhere near the number they said. And aside from that, I think the security part of this, orange tyrant, or whatever, this Cheeto, has been overspending and then withholding funding that's been given to them to support programs that they themselves, the people that are allied with Trump, don't like, but these are sort of mandates by Congress. They're saying you have to put money into this. This is why you're being paid, and you are not using the money we gave you for those purposes. You are withholding that funding. Free speech, you lose your job, they threaten your reputation, you get locked up, not really free speech. I'm sorry, he's not the part of free speech. He never was. You're fired. That was his whole thing.
You think that somebody should be treated differently because of what they believe, because of the color of their skin, because of who they love, because geographically where they live, then you are a nasty piece of shit.
Yep.
That's what you are. And we can no longer sit here and not talk about it and live in this bubble. This is not escapism. That's what the movie industry is for, which, by the way, who knows how much longer that's going to be around. This is...
Yes, exactly. To that point about the whole movie industry not being around, now Trump is saying that he's imposing tariffs on movies that are made outside the U.S. I'm like, guys, he's disguising, the whole America First thing, which no longer applies. We're not that country anymore. We are a global market. Everyone depends on everyone. And now you've isolated us from trades, from other people, because you have a stick up your ass. And you have this vision of America, of how it was in the fucking 50s. I'm like, it doesn't exist anymore. We're a different country. Most of our factories are closed, not working, and the people don't want to do those jobs. That's why they hired workers from overseas with legal visas, by the way, to make them legal residents, provided they are working. They are pouring money into our economy. They are paying for our Social Security. They are, people that are working for our benefit. But because they look different, and because people that don't understand anything about the economics of how we run the country are saying that they are taking jobs away that no one wanted, and that they are sort of taking up space, and they're taking our homes and everything else. And even if a fraction of that were true, you have to attack the people that gave them the jobs to begin with. The wealthy corporations that don't give a fuck about you, about the pride, except for maybe June when actually it does happen, they are the ones that are outselling us. They are the ones that are selling us out to money, to other corporations and shit. If you have a beef with how things are being run, you have to take it up with the people that are allowing these sort of things to happen. And even then, they have very little to no evidence of this sort of thing happening the way they're saying it is.
Escapism. Okay, this is some real fucking shit going on here, and I have to apologize to everybody that I've done a disservice to and not being open and honest about how I feel, because not saying anything is being complacent. And I have a child that is of color. She is passing, but there are people who don't want her here. There are literally people who don't want her here. There are people who look at her, my daughter's mother, that look at my spouse and don't think she belongs here. She's been told that. Okay? It is real. And she was born here. She was born here. I can't not talk about it any longer. This channel is not going to be a political channel. It's not. That's not what I'm getting at.
This one isn't either, by the way, but every now and then it creeps in.
I just can't deal with this shit anymore. And I feel so hurt and so confused how people do things that disenfranchise themselves. I don't understand how family can turn their back on a 12-year-old.
Religion.
I don't get it. It doesn't
Absolutely.
make sense to me. You have to have
Ideologies.
some sort of brain damage. You have to be a fucking...
And this happened, for example, this thing happened to a sibling of mine, you know? We were with family we have not seen since we were very, very little. This is a very personal thing, but I'm like, you know what? It has to be addressed. Anyways, something happens, and the family that we barely know turn against my sibling. I'm like, the fuck is going on? And apparently it stemmed from one of them, one of the matriarchs of the family, having a dream, okay, that my sibling was, you know, in strange works or actions and things like that. They didn't like it, and they attacked him, okay? Not physically, but they attacked him. They're dead to him, okay? And honestly, rightfully so. So I'm like, hello. And they are part of the religious, you know, community as well. So there's that. I'm telling you, the stupidity has gone off the rails. It is fucking everywhere. And there's nothing anyone seems to be doing about it. And honestly, at this point, it is time we take it upon ourselves. If curses aren't working, do something else different. I'm not saying you get your hands dirty, but sometimes for the witchcraft to work, you have to. But I'm tired of the hypocrisy. I'm tired of the bullshit. Stop talking nonsense. Stop believing in things so easily. There's no one question anymore. There's no one see the weirdness about these situations that are happening. No, they're not, unfortunately.
Idiot to feel that way. I don't get it. If your religion, if your spirituality causes you to isolate from the world, that is a cult. That is a cult. If you have to suppress your feelings about who you are as a person and how you present in the world, that is not love. That is not love. I don't want to hear about Jesus' love. I don't give a fuck what the Bible has to say.
Oh.
Again, inflammatory. And I do mean it. I do mean it. Fuck all of that. Because right now, here's the thing. And this is the real cold hard truth. Okay? They are coming for us.
Yes, they are.
They are. They are coming for our rights.
Like
they
I
are
said.
coming for all of it. This community, this witchy community, this witchcraft community, this occult space could be in danger itself. We as content creators, you as someone commenting on this video or any other video, could be in danger in 3 months, 6 months, 7, who knows?
Absolutely.
And people will tell me that I'm crazy, that it's not possible. Yeah, tell the 6 million dead Jews that.
For so many years.
Tell them that. Tell the people in Gaza that. Tell, the suffragettes. Tell the civil rights movement. Tell all the millions of black people that died, that were enslaved. Tell them that it's not possible. Tell the native people who've been on this land for who knows how long, who have been completely decimated. Their culture has been almost completely fucking erased. Tell them it's not possible. Oh, it's possible. It's possible. If you're different, they are coming for you. And it may not be the actual teachings of Christ, but they are doing it in the name of Christ. They are doing it with their Bibles, and they are pulling out scripture to support that. And that is what it is in 2025. And it is a dangerous world out there. It is. I don't know why it took something like this to wake me up. But I am awake.
I know what it was. It was the hope that it would get better. And it was the hope that you wouldn't have to put yourself on the front lines of a conflict that shouldn't have happened. And it's sad, really. And it's something that I understand, because it's like, when you have friends or family. Sorry, I had to clear out the bullshit. When you have friends or family and you've been a part of something like that for so many years, and they're sort of part of this thing that doesn't believe in your existence, that doesn't support what you are, who you are, even though they love you, they will have to choose faith over love. They have to choose faith over truth. They have to choose faith over, your existence. Because the Bible demands it, because their faith demands it, and because the reality that they have been a part of for so long, even if it's a complete delusion, is something that demands their sacrifice. If you want to see the kingdom of heaven, if you want to see God, you have to abide by his commandments. And if he's commanding you to kill children, if he's commanding you to kill cultures, upend them, because it did in the past, the same still applies. Jesus, who is Jesus? Despite us being in the time of grace, grace is not what we are seeing. This is not what we are seeing. Jesus is seldom being mentioned. All they can talk about is God and everything else like that. They have replaced their Jesus with Trump, with Vance and everything else. The entire Last Supper thing, just replace all those people with the people that we don't like presently. That is who their sacred text are now revering. That is who they're using now. The ones that are dissenting within that faith aren't having mainstream coverage. They're not. They're not. And they don't have the pull or the power that the others do within our society. It simply isn't happening.
And I'm scared and I'm sad and I'm hurt. I'm okay. I am okay with not having people like that in my life. Do not be my friend. Do not speak to me. Do not associate with me if you feel that I was born and my very existence is evil. I'm not for you. Don't pray for me. I really don't mention me. Act like I don't exist. I don't want to hear about the good word. Fuck that. And I mean that with my full chest. I'm not apologizing for it. 3 years ago,
and we shouldn't have to. Free
I felt
speech.
differently.
Fuck you.
I don't know, maybe even a year ago I felt differently, because I felt like the connection between Christianity, what it is now and what it was, is different. I felt like Trumpers and Republicans weren't the same thing, but now I don't know that that's really true. I don't know that that's true. And it really doesn't matter. If you kill somebody in the name of Christ, you're doing it in the name of Christ. If you are decimating our history, people of color, in the name of Jesus, then that's in the name of Jesus. And I cannot get behind that. I cannot support that. And I, again, just want to apologize for not taking a more active role in the community and being more involved and being more vocal about how I feel. But I am scared. Like, I'm genuinely nervous about it. It makes me really scared. I was on Facebook last night, and deleted, like, I don't know, 200 people. I'm to the point where I don't know what people think anymore about me, and that makes me unsafe. It makes me unsafe to wonder if, when you post a scripture from the Bible, are you actually living the tenets of Christianity? Or is that a mask for hatred and bigotry? And right now, we are on the precipice of that, you not even being able to take that risk. I am almost at the point where if I see anybody post anything about Jesus, automatically off my Facebook, because I don't want that energy.
Full fucking send it. I unfortunately I have to be in accordance with this, because when I was leaving those circles, when I was pretty much gone from it, and I was still, had contact, or not really contact, but I had friends in that on Facebook, the shit that I would see on Facebook would just piss the fuck out of me. I had one particular person I just blocked because they kept posting, like, whenever it was Pride Month, for example, the constant post about, how homosexuality is sin and everything else was what this person would post. The fucking cartoons, little images you saw of Jesus washing a sheep and everything else being washed away was the gay thing. Like, you saw the rainbow coming off, or you saw, like, a gay person, like this sort of weird, evil gay devil thing that was sort of chasing a person or doing this, or how this influence all stems from that. It's fucking brainwash. But that's what I've seen on my fucking face. I've had to block family members. I've had to block, quote unquote friends that were part of that sort of group and ideology because of that sort of shit. It's like, we're not welcome here. You never were welcome. The Constitution, the thing that they're trying to take care of and get rid of, honestly, is an inconvenience for them. That's why they sort of don't care about it. That's why they're doing illegal shit within Congress. The people that are part of MAGA, they don't care for the law. They got in trouble by Congress for this reason. But is Congress actually doing anything about it? Probably not. I'm not seeing anything being done about it. They're just humiliating them in front of me. We fucking know what's going on, but you have to fucking do your jobs and actually do them. That's what we're fucking waiting for. But like I said, we've had to do that. If you in some way feel you may have to as well, you have to. You can't even post anything. I can't be myself on there because of, the ties I had to family members that I was friends with. There's even certain posts that I could make, but I do not make because of the fallout that could occur, because of what it could cause in terms of a conversation or a discourse between me and even siblings or other friends or close family members. Like what this person is saying, I've done for the longest time because I am more about keeping the peace and keeping the cohesion of family together. But when a part of your family has been captured by an ideology that doesn't care about family or only cares about control, there's a danger there. I am more so concerned about the cohesiveness of the family moving forward. The deeper I get into the occultism, the more that they will not tolerate who I am and what I do. And because their scripture denounces people like myself in both aspects of sexuality and spirituality, it's like it could get from, bad to extremely worse. Right now we can carry a conversation, we're fine. But as soon as anything comes up that will trigger a conversation related to politics or religion, which could be anything you talk about. If you mention car, if you mention gas, just casual conversation. If you mention planes or anything else, it will automatically be pulled and tied to whatever political fuckery is happening right now. And so that is linked to Christianity because they are the right and they are the ones, they are the God party. They are the party about liberation. No, that's not, they never were. It's insane, honestly.
I don't want that. I don't want you praying for me. I don't want you beseeching your God into my life when you have all of these people doing heinous and disgusting acts in his name. I don't want any part of it. And if you say nothing, you stand for nothing. And I don't want to be that person anymore. I cannot be that scared little boy anymore. I cannot be the scared child anymore. I am done with all of that shit. And we, as a community, to me, need to take a more active role and be more vigilant about what's going on politically, spiritual warfare that's happening here, because I believe it is happening.
100, yes it is.
I truly
100%.
do. I really wholeheartedly do. And I probably sound crazy, and maybe on some level I am. I hope that I'm crazy. I hope that I post this and
I'm crazy,
everybody thinks
100%.
I'm crazy, and I am, and nothing happens. My fear,
but not MAGA crazy,
is that one day we will wake up and this will not be America. And I will have just sat back and acted like my white cisgendered male self, smiling the whole way through.
And I'm ending it there. Yes, it just ended abruptly. I forgot about that, but it is over. I don't know if you saw the next person, but I absolutely love him as well. But yes, this is 100% happening. Wake up for it. I know we are trying to not be sort of political because we are tired of it, but honestly, it is not giving us rest. It follows us fucking everywhere. But honestly, if you can afford to not engage a bit, then do it. All of us need reprieve. All of us need a break from the minutiae of shit we are now having to deal with because of these morons that put that fucker in office. So it is what it is. You were warned. You still voted for the fuck, and now you're seeing the problems of, the repercussions of your actions. Don't say we didn't tell you so. And honestly, for those of us that, and people have said it too, for those of you that claim you didn't know, how could you not when that's what they ran on? They told you they were going to do this, but because you were hoping that it was a lie, that it was just bullshit that we were talking about, even though you didn't do your proper research, you didn't even look at the fucking document of 2025. I fucking did. This is where we are. This is where we are. So, like I said, no longer is it a masquerade, it is a mask off parade. And that's where we have to be right now. So, like I said, I took my mask off because I'm like, you know what? Now I think it's a time for sort of, build more power, more community to hopefully stop the train from crashing. Because right now it is on a collision course for the cliff. And we're going to free fall. And then at the end, just, paste everywhere. Unfortunately, you can't use it for food because, it's pretty bad. So that's where we are. But without further delay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I should hope this video was, a bit of an eye-opener for you that I believe was good tea, that it helped sort of channel the energies you were feeling, because when I first saw it, I was like, yes, yes, all of it. I was like 100%. For those of us who perhaps are sort of a part of these sort of circles, what I say is be vigilant. I don't hate you. I don't hate you at all. What I don't like is the hypocrisy from people that believe in the same thing you do, that are overstepping their boundaries, that are overreaching into our rights and taking them away from us. If you think you are safe being a Christian witch, you are sadly mistaken. Even though you have part of that faith in you, it won't protect you. They are attacking each other right now. And honestly, the Bible also speaks about being in two waters. You can't be a part of that. You can't be in two things at the same time. Their own Bible thing. But if the spirits that were sort of made from this belief system behave completely differently and they have no issue with what you're doing, keep doing it. But what I encourage you to do is to sort of reanalyze where you are in your position. Everything you are doing right now, you can still do without the label of being a Christian witch. But like I said, if what you're doing works for you, keep doing it. But if you are perhaps behaving in a way where you are sitting idly or being a lot more passive because you have that name of Christian attached to your identity as a way to cover or disguise yourself, you won't be safe for long. At some point, when they find out what you do, they won't make exceptions. You know, they're safe, sure, for now, but honestly, they're already putting people in camps. And honestly, at this point, if you don't have a tent, you're pretty much fucked. But like I said, honestly, nothing but love and care for all of you. I love all my rats. You guys are fantastic. You guys are gorgeous. And I sure hope you guys sort of like this video, sort of like this hair. Honestly, it has been, honestly, I don't know what the fuck happened. It was put together a bit better, but honestly, I was, doing some, whatever. Anyways, I love all of you. Remember to be kind, rewind, reassess, and to practice in excess greatness. It is I, your host, Enoch, with this video for you, as well as my, companion, Grimmy. And until next time, stay safe and stay woke.